Hey guys, my name is Ty Brown. I'm from TysPlanes.com. I do a lot of model railroading, and I sell trees for that. And I see there's a lot of guys that started using, let me back out a little bit, these trees that I carry here for their Star Wars tables, the indoor tables. Anyway, I do carry those, and I had a gentleman that I was doing some work with, and we run into the fact that a lot of people change the game tables up, so I went ahead and I made a removable base for it, so they can pick the tree up and move it around. So I do have those also for these trees. But as we got to talking, I see on, I've seen all the Star Wars movies and everything like that. The trees in indoor were really huge. So I showed this gentleman some logs, foam logs that I make. I usually make these for model railroading, but I can make them anywhere from 2 inches up to 6 inches if somebody wants them. The logs themselves are made of foam. And they come pre-painted and all that. So we got to talking, and you got the platforms that go between the trees, and so I was discussing that with him. So I made up one, and as we moved along there, I went ahead and made walkways also. So just kind of adding more to your game table with a different elevation off of the base. So anyway, what I was going to do is go over the little kits I carry for this. They're really easy to make to go in between trees. Now, if you really want to get nice, you can come back and take toothpicks or something and get handrails all the way around these, make them look really neat. But this is just the base kit. Everything I do is cast out of resin. I have the walkways here, and then the platform itself. These are very easy to put on. These just actually sit on two 8-inch dowels that go between the trees. So you can make the walkways as long as you want. As far as how the platforms hold onto the tree, that's really easy also. Right here I'm just using T-pins. You can make them more permanent, but the dowels hold it on one side and this on the other. Is you put 2 more T-pins in, it's sturdy enough to hold about any figures or anything like that. But anyway, what I was going to do is go over how I put these platforms together. Here is one of the trees that I made for my client. Now, I hadn't painted the top yet. I always finish them off. But anyway, kind of give it the redwood look. I make these to fit a particular tree. The platforms themselves will fit it. I designed them to fit anything down to, if you already have trees, anything down to a 2-inch tree, all the way up to a 3-inch in diameter tree would give you a 40 millimeter wide platform all the way around. So I just wanted to make sure that I made them wide enough to use. That's what kind of the dimensions we discussed. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the parts together. I've kind of got this one ready to go. These things take about 5 minutes to make. Just let me get this stuff together, and I'll go over how to make the round one, and then we'll go over how to make the walkways themselves. Okay, here we are back at the table. First thing you need to do is, like I tell anybody with any resin parts, because you end up using some mold releases, you need to wash all your parts. I just use some like Dawn dishwashing soap. Something's got a degreaser in there. Wash them up really good and let them dry. This little platform is so easy to make. The only thing you have to do, oh my goodness, is take the platform, because this thing was made using skewers from bamboo skewers. Anyway, so I had to cut each one and put it together, and I made a quarter. Well, actually, I made an 1/8, and then I doubled it, and then so I made instead of put 8 together, you only have to put the 4. So the main thing you have to do is when you join these is after they're dry is take a sanding block. Make sure you're on camera. Take a sanding block. Now, all we're doing is squaring off this edge here. It doesn't take much. These sand really easily. So you're gonna square up all the edges. I've already done it all the way around. And then what we're going to do is come in here with CA glue. Yeah, I get this at Hobby Lobby. CA glue attaches this really quickly. Just make sure that you look at it ahead of time and get your pieces lined up the way you want them. And I just look over the top of them. And now before I glue them, I do make sure they're square. I mean, the edges are square to each other. And see, now that's already set. And so what I'm gonna do is come back. All right, now I've got all 4 of these together. Now, when I made this, I went back, I initially drew a circle, and I cut the circle in 8 pieces and everything, and working with bamboo skewers and then trying to sand them where they fit, I did a quarter on the paper. So when I got through, I ended up with a small gap here, which is very easy to fix. You get 4 big pieces and then you get 1 small. And if you needed, like my client here, he's getting 5 platforms all together. So what I'm going to do is you'll get one of these wider pieces here. This is the original 8th circle. You'll come in here. Of course, you got to square the edge up. And all we do is take it and we set the one end in there and just push down on the edge. Grab a pencil. And then all we're going to do is take a pencil and mark it where it joins. Alright, well, that pencil didn't, got trash on it. Remark it. They don't make pencils like they used to. Well, anyway, you mark it, you can barely see the mark there. So what you do then is come in here and you cut it. You can cut it on this side, and if you don't have the power tools or whatever, and then hold the other end and take your sanding block and sand it up to that edge that you've drawn, and then test fit it. If it doesn't fit, sand a little bit more off. And this is wide enough to do about 3 cuts on it. Anyway, I'm gonna get that piece cut and I'll glue it in there. Let me get it put together real quick, and then we'll move along from there. Okay, here I'm back. Here's how much you have left after I cut that piece out. So you got enough to do at least 2, possibly 3 cuts on it. Anyway, what you do now is you just go ahead and test fit it. You can see it comes in there. You just push it in place. I had to sand a little bit off from where I cut it. It took me 2 or 3 times. You just want to make sure that when you glue it, you get it done right the first time, because this stuff hooks pretty quick. So I'm going to put glue on both sides. I come in here and I mash down both sides so it's even from the bottom. And now I'm stuck to it. Okay, there's the platform. Real easy to go. You see, now, at no time have I leaned down and looked up. It's going to be flat on the bottom. If you want to make it dull, you do. I do sand this a little bit so I can prime it in black. I'm going to show you how to paint these too, so it'll be pretty easy. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to fit this to your tree. And I'm going to get my stuff together. I'll be right back to show you how we're going to fit this to the tree. Okay, here I am back. All right, this is just a plain piece of signboard. You can use a thick piece of paper, you can use whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to make a circle. It's from the center here, it's right at 3 inches. So we're going to come out and make a mark 3 inches around. Okay, we'll make sure we can see the center. Once we do that, we'll come in here and place our platform in the middle. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but you want to have it in the middle. All right, now my trees, the ones I make here, are right at 3 inches in diameter. Okay, so what we're going to do is come out 1.5 inches from the center. Now, like I said, these are always good for all the way down to a 2-inch tree. So if you had a 2-inch tree, you just barely, I mean, this circle's good enough for you. But since we're cutting this out larger, we're going to make this circle 1.5 inches out, or 3 inches, and 3 inches total. So once we have that drawn, hopefully you can see that circle drawn there, and see how I've done that. Now what we're going to do is take the tree, because these are tree specific. We're going to take the tree and we're going to set it down, and we're going to get the tree as close to the center of that ring. So that ring's 3 inches. This tree, I hand make these, so they're not exactly. And like I said, I'm working with foam. So you want to get that centered as best you can in the middle of that circle you've made. Now to draw on this, I've had the mechanical pencils. Those are cheap ones you buy down at the dollar store. I had to go back and get a number 2 pencil to draw on this pretty decently. I mean, most people have one around. Anyway, you get it centered on there, and then what we're going to do is take it and trace it. So we're tracing the actual tree itself, or the log or whatever you're using. So we'll make good dark marks around there. All right, so you can see this circle is actually a little bit oblong. So what we're going to do now is I will come out and I will take a Dremel tool and I'll clean this out to that edge. All right, you want it just like a millimeter over that, or if you want it to fit exactly, you can make it fit on the tree itself. But the trees usually get a tad bit wider as you come down, so you're actually just figure out how high you want this. These two foams, these were logs I made that were shorter. The trees I'm making for other people are around 15 to 16 inches tall. So these were samples. So you just got to figure out how high you want that on the log or the tree, and just make it fit down on there. So I'm gonna go get this cut out for a specific tree, and then we'll move along from there.
Time, criminal justice major.
Okay. Here I am back. I've got this one cut for this particular tree. It fits on a particular way. Anyway, this is going to a customer, so I didn't want to make a mess of it, so I'm using very small pins. You probably can't even see it. Anyway, what you do is once you've got it set, we're going to go ahead and we'll get ready to paint it. But anyway, it just slides down over the edge. Like I said, it does have a particular way it goes. Goodness, see if I can find it. It slides down. I mean, this weighs more than a figure does, and that sits on it fine. And that's only held up 4 points with really small, tiny pins like you would use for sewing. Okay, so there's that. All right, now what I'm going to do now, before I get to the painting part, I'm going to show you how to do the walkways. The walkway was really easy to do. You can see here, I'll pull this one up. You see here, the dowels, the whole thing is making sure you come up the right height and making your mark on there to put your platform on, or if you're going to put walkways, put your dowels in. Anyway, the dowels go straight in to both of these. Now, I did want to tell you something. When you're looking for dowels, these 1/8 inch, these dowels here are marked 1/8 inch, and I also have some more. Got one right here. All right, let's see here. I'm not sure if you probably can't see this, but it may not make a difference to you or not. But this 1/8 inch dowel, which I got from one place, I'm not sure if I got this from, this is from Hobby Lobby here. I'm not sure where I've got these. These are smaller than 1/8 inch, and these are just a little bit over 1/8 inch. I'm sure it's some metric number, but they were both marked 1/8 inch. I like the smaller ones better, just, they're smaller. Anyway, but as far as doing the walkways, on one end of the walkway I've made curved. The other end I made straight. All right. So all you have to do is, if you put all three of these are like 5 1/4 inches long. So 3 of them make what, 15 3/4 inches. 15 3/4 inch walkway if you used all 3. Well, not quite. You're going to take off one little piece here. So this walkway from here to here is right at 13 inches. Let me get this down a little bit further. From here to here is 13 inches. And all I did was I got 2 that are uncut. That goes that way. That goes that way. And the curved ends match the platform. So to get my correct length, all I did was I come in here and I cut a regular platform from the straight side back however far I needed. And then I just cut it and sanded it to where it was in a groove or in a joint there. So now this just drops in place. So now this one, I mean, watch it fall over here as soon as I touch it. But where's my? I would lose everything. Let's see here. But anyway, that walkway will hold, and all I've done is got that stuck in there, and these just laid on there. I mean, if the trees are heavy enough to hold it, then it'll hold about anything you need as far as the stuff you're gonna put on it. Anyway, that's how you do the walkways. They're very simple, and you could come one walkway here and you can go off at an angle that way. You just have to make sure they're at the same height. Now if you want to go one from a higher to a lower, you're going to have to get kind of creative with your dowels. You have to put an angle on them and angle them down. These would still be straight down at an angle, but it's just where it joins the platform would be up to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, like I said, I'm making this, I'm going to get a set of walkways made, and then we're going to prime everything and paint everything, and I'm going to show you how I do it just to make it look at the way it is there. So let me get this stuff together and I'll be right back. Okay guys, here we are back. What I have done, I've gone ahead and primed these. I prime them black. You'll see why I do that in a minute. I use a Rust-Oleum America's Accents 2x Ultra Cover Primer. It's the black. I use that. It's good for plastics, other things like that. I'm going to tell you, you need to go ahead and get your parts cut to the way you need. Get them made to the length. Here's a walkway that I did. Customer wants 13 inches, so we got that all worked out. You will paint that. You will prime it. The best thing to do is, if you're impatient, prime it right before you go to bed and leave it sitting overnight. Don't be in a rush. Like I said, you need to make sure you wash all the resin pieces first before you even put them together. And you want them set overnight because you don't want this to be tacky at all. You want it to be nice, a flat color and dry that you can rub with your fingers and nothing come off. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to paint these. They're so simple. You want the black in there to give, you want it black so it'll give it, the brown color will highlight and you'll see the cracks and everything. It really makes everything pop. Okay, the brush I use, you can buy all kinds of brushes, but this is kind of a stiffer brush. It's a Crayola brush. I buy these at AC Moore or Michaels or either Hobby Lobby. And you want a kind of a stiff brush. I've started painting over here. Anyway, the color I'm using is at Cermacoat. It's the raw sienna. Now, if you like, everybody thinks of trees or looks at trees, you think of brown. Especially the redwoods that they look like they used in the filming of the movie. They're a reddish color. So the wood that they would be building this stuff would be a reddish color. So this raw sienna is a good color for that. But I'm going to show you, these are really easy to paint. All you do, let's see if you can see my paint down here. All right, what you do is, let me move this over. We just dab it into paint, and we just kind of brush a little bit of it off here. And then all we're doing, we're not going to paint the bottom side. We're going to leave that just black. But we're going to come in here, and we're not painting sideways, we're going to paint long ways. And we're just brushing it. And what this does, it allows the paint to hit the top of the the wood, or the wood, you know, the simulated wood, and leave the brown, so leave the black, so you look to see the crevices. Now you do need to come along the edges and do the edges of the each individual piece of wood there, log or limb, whatever they use to make that with. So anyway, you can see we did this. It works out pretty good. All right, I'm gonna come across here. Now this one, you're in a circle, so we're gonna work our ways sideways the best we can. All right, we'll just keep working our way around. Just kind of bring you over an arc. Sorry, I'm getting out of the light. But do not want to go up and down to get into crevices there. So we're going to come on around. And it takes very little paint. It really actually takes longer to get these parts put together than it does to paint it. See, we've got that all painted. Now we're just going to hit the ends. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm getting out of the... But anyway, you just take the edge of the brush and hit the ends down here. And you're not pushing in hard, you're just letting the tips of those bristles touch the ends. Okay, so we've done all the way around. And you can come back in there and just lightly brush over it if you don't feel like it's dark enough on top. You don't want any crevices. Now I'll leave the bottom black because you're not going to get up underneath it and watch it up underneath. So anyway, I've got those done. I'm going to let them sit. I've got a couple more platforms to do, but that's really how easy it is to do. These things are easy to put together. They really add a new dimension to your game table. Let me pull this camera off here. I was going to show you one more thing. While I was waiting on that paint to dry, let's see if I can get this out. I went ahead, and if you really want to push it, you can see I have gone around here and I've added railing all the way around. Now I know if you had multiple walkways off, you would have openings in here, but I'm gonna make this like a permanent setup so I can just display it. Anyway, but this was really easy to do. I just used round toothpicks. We just cut them, just glued directly on top of it with CA about every 8th slot all the way around, except for where the opening was, and then just did toothpicks in between. Makes it really easy. Anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps. If you do get a kit from me, it's tiesplanes.com. I'll have them on there. Like I said, I do have the trees, and I do have the trees and the bases available, and also on orders I make the large trunks back there. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it helps. Like I said, come see me at tiesplanes.com. I have a bunch of different things on there. Y'all have a good night.